I tried doing the thing that every social media expert tells you to do. I posted every day, not just for a week or a month, but 3 months. And this is what happened. Obviously, big number mean good, right? I'd call it a success, but I have major scheduling problems, mental and physical health issues, and a full-time job, so how exactly did I manage doing this? What kind of statistics resulted from it? And more importantly, what did I learn, and how can you apply that on your own journey? So if you're new here, hi, I'm Phlox 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗍. I'm a VTuber that plays games and does tutorials, and this is technically a tutorial, like, in its own way, right? Yeah, let's go with that. While I obviously do social media, as in I participate in it, I don't post often. Certainly not every day. And because of that, the things I make usually die in the algorithm. I knew I needed to post more, but I also felt like I saw garbage content going viral daily, and I built up this complex that even if I made garbage, I'd eventually go viral randomly, right? But that never happened, and I assumed it was just because my videos were so shit that they didn't even meet the shitty viral content criteria.
What do you think I'm going to say to you?
No.
Correct. Goodbye.
But at a certain point, I got wondering, am I really that shit, or am I just missing something here? Naturally, I watched a few videos on social media and found that they almost all give you the same set of information. 1, you don't post enough. 2, you need to pick a niche. And 3, you are, in fact, as suspected, But the problem with these videos is that they seem to be basing the measurement off of you becoming some extremely viral Mr. Beast mini-me, and not based off of, I don't know, like maybe just having an extra $200 for groceries or something like that. And that's sort of my goal personally. Now, fixing all 3 of those things is gonna be rough because you can't just become less terrible at making videos without first just being terrible at making videos. And I'm not gonna commit to a niche, like straight up. I enjoy too many things. That's why I already have 2 main channels. I don't need to make another channel. However, posting more, hey, I could probably do that. But I have a few challenges to deal with, those being my job and my health. With those things considered, I still managed to post every day for 3 months. Let me give you my plan and I will explain why it worked for me specifically. With work taking up the bulk of my week and my mental health and physical health causing random disruptions throughout my week as well, the only surefire time I could work around this was the weekend. And so I decided that my Sunday would be a non-negotiable work day. No friends, no family, no chores, just social media stuff. I would write scripts, record, edit, make thumbnails, write descriptions, and do everything that I needed to do for that entire week's worth of posting. And I know that sounds rough, but for me personally, I can sit down and handle this workload most of the time in one sitting, probably because I have undiagnosed autism or like some other neurospicy disorder. But occasionally, I knew my terrible allergies, wrist pain, and my mental health would disrupt any sort of schedule. So a Sunday disruption due to unforeseen circumstances, even if I avoid scheduling conflicts, was inevitable. And that's why I left all of my evenings during the week open. Therefore, if I had spare time during the week, that could go towards other projects like streaming, long-form video editing, and other posts like on Twitter or Blue Sky. And if I got behind on a Sunday, I could use that time to catch up instead of working on random other things. It's extremely crucial for me to plan for this kind of disruption and not for perfection, especially because messing up on my goals will make me feel twice as bad and ruin my productivity. So having the main goal with some smaller, less serious goals made this process very forgiving. Alright, so once you have your videos edited, just get up and post them at the same time every day, right? No. No. Didn't you hear me earlier about the Mentos illness? I'm never gonna remember to do that. If I set a reminder, I'll become numb to it eventually, so I actually just schedule everything out on Sunday as well. And that's the trick to posting every day. I don't. The computer does it for me. But what were the results of that? Well, I showed you at the beginning. I got lots of views and follows. Yippee! Let's get into the actual statistics though. Since I posted so much, I actually have some pretty cool data on how certain topics did, what did the best for my channel, so on. Yeah, I got some graphs, or whatever. Just a few graphs, you know. Disclaimer though, remember how I mentioned not wanting to have a niche? I stand by that. I don't want one. So I just said, fuck it. you know, I'm just gonna post whatever. And the whateverness of my videos can be split up into about 5 categories, and although they're adjacent, they are definitely not all in the same realm. Those categories were clips from my Twitch streams, acted out audios from trends, original animations or like trending animations, art time lapses, basically just art stuff, tutorials on VTubing and streaming stuff, and lastly, original scripted content that was usually about myself or my VTuber, something like that. And this is how everything did overall, by category, in terms of total views. And by platform, it looks like Instagram did the best overall, like in terms of views, but I can show you that for IQR, or interquartile range, which is kind of like a median value, it seems like my tutorial videos do great, hitting the 25k views range. And the videos where I yap about myself or my model do really well too. If you combine those stats further and look at the IQR by video type per platform, you can also see that YouTube really likes those yappy videos, and TikTok really likes tutorials. Overall, my statistics on every site skyrocketed. YouTube received a huge boost from this video in particular. And I also had one huge banger on Instagram as well, although I think this one popped off for very specific reasons. As a matter of fact, I actually checked those specific reasons in terms of stats as well, and yeah, having 2 huge personalities, it impacts your views, it definitely does. But what does this have anything to do with posting every day? Well, posting every day got me to this point. Before I posted every day, I was getting no views at all. I mean, take a look at this graph. This very terrible, not optimized, awful graph. Let's just look at it, just ignore how bad it is right now. It's my views per video over time on a logarithmic scale. You can see that after about a month of hanging out in Club 100 and Club 1000, the bouncer for Club 10k and 100k just sort of said, yeah, it, let's let this guy in. Sure, I don't care anymore. And I genuinely feel like this is an endurance test from social media sites, because after that point, I stayed in those higher view zones, except for when I forgot to post and I got sick and my eyes got so swollen for like a week that I couldn't do anything. That's right here on the graph. So what does posting every day actually do for you? First of all, it builds endurance. I knew I had to get this done every week, and it made me more motivated to prep myself during the week so I could clear out my Sunday faster. Over time, I got faster at scripting, editing, and making thumbnails. Plus, I gained the ability to work for longer since I was able to work quicker as well. It also builds endurance for your social media itself, because the more aggressively you post, the more likely they are to let the bouncer guy, you know, let you win Club 100k, you know? I think you just have to be annoying. That's my motto. Instead of dropping one thing every now and then before leaving into the void, you're telling the social media sites that you're there to stay, almost like you're forming a trust bond with them. They trust you to post, and they reward you for doing so as you continue that habit. The result is some random bullshit that I post will get views regardless now. So while I wasn't really fortunate enough to have some random trash video pop off, I have had enough endurance now to where I do have the ability to post garbage, and it, at the very least, doesn't instantaneously die in the algorithm. Posting every day also forces you to get better. If you have a numerical value for your post goals and you can't think of enough ideas to meet that number, too bad. You gotta post. So if you gotta post a cube edit with your face on it one week, that's just what you gotta do. And somehow even that is still beneficial, because it gets you used to figuring out how to give yourself break content that's easier to produce, and how to balance that with higher quality content or just different styles of content. If you want to produce exclusively high quality content, then you have to build yourself up to doing that. And I feel like I've really honed in on it now. I find myself taking more notes for ideas during the week, randomly planning bits of a script, or tackling ideas earlier in the week because I just want to take off my workload for later. I've truly just gotten better at the whole process, and not just the meat of like editing and scripting, but also just balancing everything with my life and polishing up those smaller tasks like short script writing and thumbnail ideas. And lastly, it builds your confidence. If you do what I did and ignore having a true niche, you'll end up just making random stuff. And some will be good, some will be bad, but you'll find out what you truly like making, which is the most important thing. More so, you'll find out what you're confident at making. And you'll also build confidence for the things that you aren't so sure about. Plus, you might even find a niche by doing that. That's why I personally say ignore a niche at first, because your executive dysfunction will use it as a way to keep you from making content when you could just post anything and find a niche later. Just saying. It will solidify what kind of content does best for you, and it will help you feel better about making that content. And the best part by far is that some of your shit will pop off. Like this video of mine where I'm banging a companion cube around in Portal. This video did really well, like better than some of my scripted content. And while I could totally get in my feels about the effort versus the results of a video, I just want to be happy that sometimes people like silly little videos because they can relate to you and not because you're trying really hard. That is the true content creation buff. When you post a dumb video and people like it. It feels good. So does posting every day get you follows and views? Yeah, totally. But it also makes you better at what you do, more confident, and more efficient. And as a bonus, I've also gotten better at puppeting my VTuber just because of the sheer amount of content that I've been putting out. And maybe, if you do this for long enough, you can also get that extra $200 for groceries. And I actually did that! Well, close to it anyway. I hope you see this as a motivation to push yourself and try to post every day. If you're not the best with idea making, I'll be posting a weekly VTuber video ideas list on my Twitter for the next month, so check that out as a place to start if you're feeling intimidated. After this, I'll be back to my regular tutorial content, so put your thinking caps on, I guess. I'll see you in the next one, and remember, when in doubt, make a cube edit.